Hey everyone, I just finished my first workout for 2019, and like many of you, I am recommitting to making myself healthier and just physically better this year. I turned 50 in a few months, and so that goal is really important to me. But I've found that goals can sometimes be a little overwhelming and a little daunting. And so in today's video, I'm sharing with you a proven strategy that I use with my clients to help them create not just SMART goals, but to truly aim smart at their goals to make them more relatable, obtainable, and tangible. I'll see you in a few minutes. Come join me for today's video. So hi everyone and welcome. My name is John Nerrill. I want to wish you a happy new year. I help professionals who are ambitious about their careers create their next advancement opportunity. And today is show number 46, which I've called Ready, Set, Aim Smart Your Goals for 2019. I'm going to walk you through a goal setting process that I use with my individual clients to help them achieve goals that are tangible and relatable and helps them not be so overwhelmed in the goal setting process. So while I'm doing this live, and when I go to edit this down, I'll have some graphics and things like that in. But if you are following me along live, you may want to have a piece of paper or split the screen a little bit so you can maybe take some notes along the way. I know you're going to find today really, really helpful. If you are new to my Facebook Lives, welcome. And I also want to let you know that I have a great and valuable free resource on my website. It's a workbook I've called 3 Steps to Creating Your Next Advancement Opportunity Without Feeling Overwhelmed. It's designed to help you listen, lean in, and step forward as you go ahead and create whatever that next advancement opportunity is for you. So welcome. It's great to see so many people here, and we are going to go ahead and get started. So I absolutely love the new year. And for me, it is not just about a new day. It's that whole new chapter in our lives where we get to see 12 months ahead, and what do we get to create? What do we get to do? I had some friends of mine encourage me the other day to write down 50 things to do in my 50th year, because I turned 50 in April. And I love that idea, because it was really about just having fun with the whole bit about turning 50 and scratching things off the bucket list, so to speak. So I'm excited about doing that. And when it comes to goal setting, I started doing goals more than resolutions several years ago, because I always found that I never really stuck with a New Year's resolution, whether it would be about, losing weight, or it would be about having more, vacation time or fun time, or making more friends, whatever it might be. I never really felt like I stuck with it. So I switched that up a few years ago and started creating goals. And the whole point behind goals was really to give me something to aspire to, something to work toward, that was something I was really excited about and interested in doing. And as I was going through my coaching program through iPEC, the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, they shared with us a tool called Aim Smart. And it is a different take on the traditional SMART goals, which we know are specific, measurable. For some reason, I always miss the A, and I got to look at my notes, but achievable, reasonable, and then time-oriented. So they instituted or created this part, this AIM part, which it literally found to be genius, because it opened up so many different opportunities for me. And so here's how it works. The AIM stands for acceptable, ideal, and middle. So when we start thinking about goals, we want to really break it down and think about what's acceptable, what's the ideal, and what's in the middle. In other words, what's like the least you could do, what's the ideal you could do, and what kind of lands right in the middle. So for today, what I'm going to suggest is that if you have a sheet of paper with you, or you've split the screen or whatever, I want you to write down a goal that you'd like to achieve this year. So in other words, by December 31st, 2019, I will, and then you go ahead and fill in the blank. So as you're writing those things down, I'd love for us to do this in parallel, because I'm going to model for you how I've been able to use this AIM SMART strategy and create a very specific business goal for me that I'm going to share with you as I walk you through. Okay? So you've started off by reaching your 1 year goal, or stating your 1 year goal. So by December 31st, 2019, all right, I may have said 2018 before, but by 2019, I will. So for me, I will publish a book this year. It's one of my big business goals this year, is to write and publish a book. Now, I've written books before in my previous career, but this is a different adventure for me. And so I've talked with both of my business coaches and you know, talking with them about whether or not it was really time for me to go ahead and write the book. It may not necessarily be the book, but it's definitely going to be a book that I'm going to be really, really proud of. So for me, my 1 year goal is by December 31st, 2019, I'm going to write and publish a book. Now, whatever your goal is, let's cut that in half, and let's think about in 6 months. So by June 30th, 2019, you're going to do what? Well, for me, by June 30th, what that is that's all about me being able to have everything I need done to send that book to the printer, to the publisher. That means it's got to be fully edited. The cover art needs to be done. The acknowledgments and the reviews or the recommendations or things like that in the book are there, and they are all set. It is signed, sealed, and delivered and sent off to the printer. So what's your 6-month goal? You know, think about how you want to tailor that back a little bit from whatever your first goal is, okay, for the year. Now, here's where the magic happens, and here's where the AIM SMART component comes in. So now that you've got a yearly goal and a 6-month goal, we want to start walking that back. What do you plan on having done in 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, and 1 month? Okay, so for me, all right, as I've walked this back, all right, I have said that, you know, by May 30th of this year, I'm going to implement my editor's feedback and approve the book cover art to finally have that final version that I just need to look over before I send it to the printer. Okay. Then by April 30th, as I walk it back another month, I'm going to make sure that I send that book to my editor to review. That means I'm sending back what may end up being a final version of it, but it needs to go to the editor by April 30th. By March 31st, and this one's really big for me because my birthday is April 5th. So by March 31st, I want to have the first draft of the manuscript done. Okay? That's the number of words and the number of pages that I'm planning to write. Now, I'll tell you that my goal is in that first manuscript, it's around 70,000 words, which comes out to a little more than, I want to say, around 300, you know, somewhere between 250 and 300 pages in Word, okay, the full pages, right? And I'm basing that off of about 250 words per page, all right? By February 28th of this year, I expect to have 2/3 of the book written, and by the end of this month, 1/3 of the book is written. So as you're thinking about your own goals here, walk it back from that 6-month mark, about one thing for each month. And now we start looking at this first month and say, okay, what do you plan on doing in this first month? Now you can drill this down even further and go week 4, week 3, week 2, and this week. You could do that, all right? But I want to get really specific with you now about the aim part of this. So as I've thought about writing the book, first question I'm going to ask myself is, what is the acceptable amount of work that I believe I can do this week? So for me, what that means is I need to come up with a specific amount that I'm going to write this week. Okay? And what I've basically said that the least I could possibly do this week is write about 8 pages in Word, or about 4,200 words, somewhere in there. Actually, that doesn't really work out. Sorry, it's about 2,000 words, okay? If I'm basing off of 250 words a page, if I write 8 pages in Word, it's about 2,000 words. So what that means basically is that if I did the least I could possibly do, I'm thinking about I'm going to write about 8 pages in Word. Now, in an ideal situation, here's the I. This means that I'm going to be able to devote a lot of time to writing. And I'm going to spend a good portion of my week writing the text that I need for the book. Now, I already have the outline and things drawn up. It's just a matter for me to actually go ahead and write the content. So in an ideal world, in an ideal situation where everything goes my way and I can get all that done, what I've written down here is roughly about 24 to 30 pages in Word a week. Okay, it's a lot of text, but somewhere in the area talking about, maybe it's 7,500 words a week, 9,000 words a week. And remember, if I'm looking at, say, a 70,000 word goal, if I could write 9,000 words in a given week, that's more than 10%. So that would be the ideal. But now I got to land somewhere in the middle, because the middle is what's most often realistic given my schedule and what I really believe I'm able to commit to with everything I've got going on in my life. And so where I've landed here is roughly about 17 or 18 pages a week in Word that I believe I could write. Now that's pushing myself a little bit. It's a little bit of a stretch goal, but honestly, I think if I could crank out 17 pages in Word a week, I'm going to get to the end of March. 17 times 12 is a little over 200 pages in Word. That's going to put me pretty close to my goal, if not reach it, given how I see the book play out. All right. The whole point behind the AIM SMART process is before I even get into identifying the SMART components, what's really essential here is to make sure that I don't get myself overwhelmed in the process. I know that on any given week, if I'm able to accomplish the least I'm able to do, I met my goal, because that's part of the AIM process. And if I reach the ideal, awesome, that's great. But more often than not, what I'm expecting is that on average, I'm going to be able to land somewhere in the middle, which is writing those 17 or 18 pages a week. Now that I have all of that, I can walk through the SMART process. So I can identify what specifically do I need to do in order to be able to write those 17 or 18 pages in a given week. And for me, what that means is I've got to carve out some time each and every day. And that means to allocate an hour a day or somewhere between 5 to 7 hours a week for me to do the writing. Now, the measurable part here is, how will I be able to measure it as a success? Well, I've got a very defined work product in terms of how much content I create to go toward the book. So I'm going to be able to track my progress each day and each week and see how many words and how many pages I've been able to create. Is it achievable for me to do this? Yeah, I spent a lot of time in the last quarter thinking about how I could really allocate the necessary time to go ahead and do this. And so I have no reservations at this point that my goal is not achievable, but I really feel like I've set myself up for success to see how these next few weeks go and evaluate. So is it reasonable? Yeah, I think we kind of covered that, right? So I've got a reasonable goal here in the midst of everything else I've got going on, that I'm going to go ahead and be able to do that. And I've planned some time each month to really dedicate a few days as chunks of time for me to really work on the book and to do some writing. And lastly, is it time oriented? Yeah, given the amount of work that I need to do here, I think each week has a specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-sensitive goal for me to hit. Now it's just a matter of me being able to go and do it. So here we are, we're 2 days into the new year already, and I can tell you that I've held pretty fast to this goal. Each day I've been able to carve out some time and write the amount of words. I've basically been writing 1,000 words a day. So I'm definitely on track in that regard. And if I have more time later on, I can certainly go back to doing it. But I know that this weekend's going to be a little busy. And so the likelihood of me being able to write something on Sunday is probably not going to happen. So I need to make sure I either give myself a little grace on Sunday and just take the day off, or I need to write more content leading up to Sunday so I can make sure I've hit that goal. So again, the really key part about aim smarting in this process is once you have the goal that you want to achieve, being able to walk it back and identify what's the acceptable amount you can do, what's the ideal, meaning the most that you see yourself being able to do, and then lastly, what lands in the middle. And what lands in the middle is what you want to look really, really hard at. And when you've got that middle part defined, walk through the SMART process of creating that goal that's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-focused, and see if you're able to do that, and then implement it. Implement it and see what happens. It's either going to work or it's not. And either way, you're going to get some really good data to reevaluate the process. And if that means adjusting your aim smart goal or adjusting what is the acceptable, ideal, and middle, you can then go back and do that. Because remember, your goal 1 year from now, whatever that is, that's where you're ultimately heading. Yeah, all right. Well, we are almost at time. And again, it always seems like time here goes pretty quickly. So here's what I want to offer you at the end. Here is your call to action. Take a few moments and work through this aim smart process for whatever it is that's important for you to achieve this year. And if you're looking for some help in terms of redefining this or whatever, you can certainly drop me an email at john@johnnerrell.com with whatever thoughts you have, or you can private message me here. I'd be happy to take a look and give you some feedback around your goal setting process and what those particular goals mean for you as we go ahead and create your next advancement opportunity in 2019. If you liked today's video, please go ahead and click the like button. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you next week with another topic specifically related to how we can go ahead and create our next advancement opportunities in 2019. I've got some more writing to do this week, and I wish you all the best success as you achieve your goals as well. Make it a great day, everybody. I'll see you next Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye.